Hey everyone, welcome back to The Privacy Guy. Today's video is all about privacy experts and sort of news sources that I use on a regular basis to get news about the latest privacy and security threats on the internet. These come in a few different forms. I'm going to start by covering a few bloggers, a few privacy and security blogs that I read on a regular basis that I find to be super valuable and very well done, followed by a couple of kind of privacy and security personalities. So these are people who, maybe don't have their own blog, but have been featured on other publications or have done interviews that I've watched on YouTube. A couple of them have done TED Talks, which I think are super insightful and important, covering important topics. And then finally, I'm just going to talk about a couple other YouTube channels that I really enjoy and that I think do a good job of covering some privacy topics that subscribers to my channel would probably be interested in it as well. So just going to get started here. These are the privacy experts with blogs. First up is BrianKrebs. He's a journalist and investigative reporter, but he operates and runs his own blog. It's KrebsOnSecurity.com. And for each of these, I'm going to leave a link in the description. I'm going to just list out all of these people and link to their sites to make it easier for you guys to find them. So Krebs on Security, they cover cybersecurity issues, cybercrime, as well as privacy issues occasionally that pop up that are kind of high profile. And the thing I like about Krebs on Security is it takes a pretty technical approach to covering these stories. It's not just something like Yahoo News where it just explains, hey, here's what happens. It really dives into the technology behind certain data breaches and issues that sites run into. So KrebsOnSecurity.com. Next up is Cluley. I've followed Cluley on Twitter for quite a while and have really gotten a lot of value from his Twitter account. He's a security blogger based in the UK, I believe. His site is GrahamClulley.com, and it's just a blog about computer security, certain news stories, and advice on how to protect your privacy and how not to run into security issues on the internet. And again, his site is GrahamClulley.com. Next up is Bruce Schneier. Schneier on Security. His website is just Schneier.com. He's a cryptographer. I know he's done a lot of work on actually creating certain encryption technology. So obviously he's quite the expert in protecting information on the internet. I think he might be the person behind Pretty Good Privacy, or one of those encryption strategies for protecting email. But he is a computer security professional. He's a privacy specialist and advocate, just like myself. And he also is a lecturer at Harvard. So pretty stand-up guy, I guess. But yeah, Schneier on Security, I really recommend his stories. I've gotten a lot of value from those. Next up, Gabriel Weinberg. Some of you may know this name because Gabriel Weinberg is the CEO and founder of DuckDuckGo. Obviously, I've made a few videos about DuckDuckGo. I think it's a great privacy product, but Gabriel Weinberg is an advocate for privacy. Obviously, I think he's done a lot of great things with DuckDuckGo. The company itself provides a lot of good privacy news on its blog, but Weinberg is a good person to follow on Twitter. I wasn't able to find a personal blog of his or anything, but I know that he does tweet a lot and is active on Twitter. And I've read a lot of answers on Quora.com that Gabriel Weinberg has written. A lot of these are kind of more related to DuckDuckGo and privacy in the search field, but he provides a lot of value, so I thought I'd mention him here. Next up is Troy Hunt. You might not recognize the name Troy Hunt, but his site or his blog, Have I Been Pwned, his tool, Have I Been Pwned, is a popular source for privacy news, for security topics, but Have I Been Pwned also functions as a way for people to see if their accounts have been included in hacks or breaches. So I definitely recommend you check out Have I Been Pwned, even if you're not looking for privacy news. It's a valuable website to see if your passwords or any of your email information or stuff like that has been linked or included in data breaches or databases of hacked emails. So that's haveibeenpwned.com. Next up is Glenn Greenwald. Glenn Greenwald is a pretty well-known person in the tech space. He's a journalist, an author, and a former attorney, but he has his own law firm that actually works a lot with privacy and security cases. So he's an expert in kind of those fields. He does have a blog that I read on a regular basis. One thing I will point out is that Glenn Greenwald has been interviewed on a lot of popular shows, including the Joe Rogan Experience. And where I first came across Glenn Greenwald was on his TED Talk on YouTube. And I know he also has some popular books out there that people recommend about privacy and security. So that's Glenn Greenwald, and you can find him on his blog on Substack. Next up is Eva Galperin. She is the director of cybersecurity at the Electronic Frontier Foundation, which is known as EFF. I know the EFF puts out a lot of valuable content and kind of like announcements of new data breaches, hacks, privacy issues that they discover with a number of websites. They do a lot of good work as far as like freedom of the press. I think they're related or connected to the Freedom of the Press Foundation, and they help journalists protect their privacy online. And the director, Eva Galperin, is an expert, obviously, on cybersecurity and a lot of privacy issues. She also has a TED Talk that is available on YouTube, and it discusses a lot of cybersecurity issues. And she's also a good follow on Twitter. So I'll include the link to her Twitter in the description of this video. So those are kind of the personalities or bloggers that I thought were valuable to follow. But then I also want to give a shout out to a couple YouTube channels that have kind of been a big inspiration for me to talk about privacy on YouTube. And they're a source of knowledge and information that I use that I think would be valuable to anyone who is on the internet regularly and interested in privacy and security issues. So the first of these channels is The Hated One. The channel, I think, started kind of focusing mostly on like mass surveillance and kind of like government agencies that are monitoring citizens, and discussing the influence that has on kind of obstructing freedom of speech and free expression. But there's a lot of valuable videos on there about privacy and security as it relates to social media sites, to different technologies, operating systems. And I think The Hated One is a good source of information to add to the knowledge you would acquire from my channel. I think The Hated One does a really good job. So just wanted to point that out. Next up is Rob Braxman Tech. He's the OG privacy guy on YouTube. I had seen a lot of his videos before, but have heard podcasters, including Joe Rogan, kind of be like, yeah, there's this guy on YouTube. He talks about privacy and privacy-friendly phones, de-Googled phones specifically. But he talks about a lot of cybersecurity and privacy issues, and kind of focuses on how to communicate privately. So private messaging apps, private email. I know in his channel description, he even mentions ham radio. So I don't know, he dives into some interesting sides of privacy that probably don't get covered elsewhere. So that's Rob Braxman Tech. He is the internet privacy guy on YouTube. So he's a good follow. I definitely recommend his videos. He's kind of a funny guy too. So definitely shout out to Rob Braxman. And that's all I have for today. So the description of this video is obviously going to be pretty long because I'm going to include the list of these people I just mentioned and give you their contact information and their sites where they're most active so that you can access their content and hopefully learn a lot about privacy and security. So I hope you got some value from these people, and I'm sure that the people I listed are gonna give you some new perspectives and knowledge about privacy and security that you may or may not have gotten before. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos because I'm going to keep making them. So I'll see you guys soon.